many times during the savage reign of imposed Christianity and other imposed religions through the Dark Ages and what have you and beyond, passing on this knowledge secretly was absolutely vital to the self-preservation of those doing it. So I can understand totally why this knowledge was passed on secretly through these levels of initiation in that period, and also through symbolic legends, symbolic stories that passed on the knowledge without actually coming out with it openly, which would have been fatal. I can understand also why some of the advanced knowledge that knows how to manipulate energy fields and energies to create great destruction was passed on only to people it was considered could be trusted with it. I can understand all that. But it would appear that over a period of time towards coming into the modern world, that this network of secret societies and the advanced knowledge that it contains at its highest levels has been infiltrated and string-pulled by a force that has used this network for very negative reasons. In short, to control the human race without the human race knowing it's being controlled. It's used this secrecy to manipulate and keep from the people the knowledge that we have every right to know. Within this knowledge, this esoteric knowledge and how these energies work, for instance, is the knowledge that exists today and has done for some time of how to create technology that harnesses the Earth's natural energy field and turns it into usable warmth and power. The idea that we have to take fossil fuels from this planet and turn them into pollution to survive is utterly ludicrous. The alternative already exists, and it's really funny, you know, how many people who've come up with this alternative have actually ended up in prison. I know two for a start, one of them's still there. It holds the knowledge also of how to create technology, anti-gravity technology as it's called, that would make the space shuttle look like the technological equivalent of a London taxi. That knowledge is known in the world today. But knowledge is empowerment. And the last thing manipulators want for the human race is for them to be empowered. Empowered people do not succumb anything like as easy to control. The kind of long-term name going right back of this conspiracy is the great work of ages. It's used religion for its own ends, it's used science for its own ends, it uses any vehicle for its own ends. It does not have a party line, it does not have a basic religion, it just uses whatever vehicle is necessary to manipulate and control. It had another name that was very secret for a long time, but is now very public. The name is the New World Order. The very word spoken by George Bush after the blatantly engineered Gulf War of 1991, and now used constantly by politicians across the world to describe the future of global politics and economics. Today, the manipulation to bring about this New World Order pervades every area of our lives. The people behind it may be strange, but they are far, far from stupid. They understand the system that I've been describing tonight because they created it. If you built a car from scratch, every nut and every washer, you would know everything there is to know about that car. They built the system. They know everything there is to know about the system and how to manipulate it. Indeed, it was created and structured to make manipulation easy. What the New World Order means is the creation of one world government to which all nation states would be subordinate, one world central bank, one world currency that wouldn't be physical money, it would be credit, one world army, and as I'll come to later, a microchipped population. Of course, the more you centralize power, obviously the fewer hands can control the whole. And if you look at the history of particularly this century, you see that in all areas of our lives, whether it be local businesses or whatever, the power has gone away from the individual and the community, even the town and city, to the center. It's now moving on into the continent with the European community, which is, again, as I'll come to later, the final step before they go global. And you'd have seen also that when you challenge this centralization, this rationalization as it's called, then you get the old reply that, oh, well, we've got to live in the real world, mate, this is progress. And they say, oh, well, you know, events in the world make it impossible for us to do anything else. You know, we've got to do this. We've got no choice. And that's a very good example of the way this new world order is being introduced by stealth. Because this global tyranny is not about tanks in the streets. It's what I've described as a coup d'etat on the human mind. The way it works, and has worked for a long time if we only started to realize it, is by engineering events and sending out messages through the media that get public opinion in any area that it's dealing with, whatever subject area it is, to get to that classic point where public opinion says about something, something must be done. And when we reach that point of something must be done, the people who have created the problem to get people to come to that state of mind then step forward with the solution to the problem, which just happens to be what they were going to do all along, and it also takes us further along the road to centralized global control. In the words of its own secret document, create problems, then offer solutions. And it's happening all the time. To bring about the situation where a problem is highlighted, something must be done, here's the solution, off we go to the next stage on the road. In 1986, someone bought an IBM copier at a second-hand sale. And when they got it home, they found inside a very thick document, which obviously shouldn't have been there, called Quiet Weapons, or rather Silent Weapons for a Quiet War. And this described a policy of mass public mind control that has been orchestrated on the people of the world, particularly the Western world, since the 1950s. See if, I'll just read you a little bit of it, see if you recognize the world this document is describing. Experience has proven that the simplest method of securing a silent weapon and gaining control of the public is to keep the public undisciplined and ignorant of basic systems principles on the one hand, while keeping them confused, disorganized, and distracted with matters of no real importance on the other hand.